are back with the follow-up podcast.
Follow-up
Looking
podcast.
at our second week,
Advent.
third week in Advent. This is third, yeah. So we did
we're on the third
hope,
one.
peace, now joy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and you were kind of starting to unload that from Isaiah 35.
Yes.
Been pulling from the Old Testament quite a bit for some of the.
Yes, I do try to focus on the Old Testament prophecies and covenants and things.
Yeah.
Not only from the fact that they say a Messiah will come, but from the fact that he is the fulfillment of the themes of Advent: hope, peace, joy,
one of the ways
love.
to kind of build the expectation side of it is that
Yes.
that's what they were doing during the Old Testament time period.
Exactly.
Expecting.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the theme of joy, and we talked about this a little bit during the week, so this is like this is what happens as we talk during the week, and then we got to remember, did I already have the conversation with someone? But the question is there a difference between joy and happiness? And what kind of distinctions would you draw there either in the way the Bible talks about them or in the way that we think about them?
I think both of those are. So the Bible talks about them and uses words like happy, joyful, blessed, rejoicing. All those things are basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's the underlying word is basically the same. But in English, we do draw more of a distinction. We separate the definitions of those terms.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed is like something has been given that is good. Happy, it could be just a subjective experience of something. But joyful, we reserve that for something a little more elevated, and have that idea that we put in there.
Okay, so
and that's
fine.
Just
with English and how the overlap, because we're dealing with you got another language in the Bible.
There's another underlying language. Right. That's going on there.
Okay.
But I think if we want to talk about true happiness, true joy, true blessedness, then we as Christians must tie that to coming from God.
Sure. Now, when Christmas comes around, a lot of people have mixed feelings about that. Some folks might feel, very upbeat and excited about, getting to be with family, getting to, watch the kids open presents and all the exciting things that we do as traditions. Right. But then might be another group of people who maybe are sorrowing or grieving during Christmas time, having lost someone or memories of the past, or for whatever reason they just don't feel like they need to be more joyful on that day than any other day.
Right.
What would you say to those who maybe take a less than happy or less than joyful approach to the holiday?
I recognize there are people who are going to be mourning because there isn't someone there, or circumstances aren't such that emphasize that joyful experience that they're having. I get that that's happening, but that should not detract or should not make them upset at people who are joyful for the right reasons, joyful for Christ's coming, joyful for the salvation that we experience, really joyful at the prospect of being free from the painful circumstances that make them sad, recognizing that Christ is hope and peace and joy and love personified for us. And I think that's something that gets the focus off of how you yourself are feeling in circumstantial things, and looking at the bigger picture.
The bigger picture. Okay. So the growing in our appreciation for Christ and for the gift that God has given us is a source of joy or a source of hope that we might have through holidays, even no matter how we might feel in that moment. Is there a distinction then between Christian joy and our emotions? Because sometimes we go through different waves of emotions, seasons where we may feel more depression than others or things like that. Is there is the Christian life just supposed to be one big smile from end to end, or what?
Well, I mean, it's a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
We do get the chance to develop in our receiving of the grace of God to flow through us, even in difficult circumstances. But until that is freely flowing, there will be things that sorrow us. I mean, even Christ, when he
Right.
found out his cousin John had been beheaded, he was, I need some time, bro.
Yeah. Well, even the famous like shortest verse in the Bible, right? Jesus wept.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously,
Okay.
whatever Christianity is has to include
Right.
times where we do feel those things.
Well, emotions, difficult emotions, God built us to have those.
Mm-hmm.
There is no life where that is not um, a factor, at least in this world. I wonder if it's the same in heaven. I mean, if Christ can weep, if Christ can be a man of sorrows, I don't see why that could not exist in heaven as well.
What comes to my mind is like towards the end of the book of Revelation, where it says that God will wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and just in that thought, you have the fact that tears made it there.
Yeah.
But then they're being wiped away, so they're allowed to come in. They just don't stay when they're there.
Right.
So it's
I take that verse as saying that there is the experience of being in heaven and being in contact with God alters our perspective on all the things that make us sad about this life.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, because I've heard the idea at least kind of thrown around of if you're a Christian and you're not happy all the time, then something must be wrong, or that you're not walking with God unless you're happy all the time.
And
kind of like that.
That produces people who fake it.
A little bit superficial.
Yeah.
It's like it's worth dealing with, because I think all Christians, just like even in the scripture we read, where people go through these different events of life and they roll with those punches, but then joy seems to be something that endures through the middle of all of that.
What do you mean in terms of the people who are following? Like, if we're looking in Psalms, obviously we have imprecatory Psalms, and we have even things we're saying, things are going rotten, yet I will rejoice.
Right. Okay. Yeah, there are those.
It's almost like it's a choice.
Yeah.
And I think it is a choice.
Sure.
You can choose to be bummed out, unhappy, angry, mad, sullen, depressed. Those you can say, hey, hello darkness, my old friend, and just dive in, because it's a cozy little place, because it gives you the ability to say, my world is awful because my world is awful, not because I have to look at anything in myself.
So it's important to take those for what they are, the emotions or the things that you go through, process them as they come, but don't lose sight of, or don't get lost in that and lose sight of the joy that we find in Christ. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So you touched on a few different aspects of joy. You talked about, yes, some places where we can find joy, but also some places where we can't find it. You'd mentioned specifically two areas. One would be you can't find joy in just running free, wild, and doing whatever you want. You also won't find joy in trying to keep a list of like a checklist of rules. If I just check this whole list, then I'll be joyful. Why can't you find joy in either of those two places?
I bring this out every now and then. Liberalism and legalism are two sides of one coin. Yeah. They're both trying to control sin. They're trying to control their world in some way. Liberalism, I'll control it by not considering bad things bad, or having no opinion, or what have you. Just giving this blanket liberality to things so that I don't have to define them.
That sounds not quite like being in control, though. That sounds like putting the thing in neutral and just letting it go where it's going to go.
Well, see, that is what is said, but what is real, what the liberal mindset really thinks is, I don't want to judge anything so that whatever I'm doing can't possibly be called into question. That's the agreement. You push them enough.
There are
you
boundaries.
Find there are boundaries
somewhere. They're just neatly drawn around myself.
Yes. So as long as what I'm doing and what I think and how I feel is fine,
you're good if you match me.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And then legalism on its side attempts to say, all right, you can't do that because that'll affect my world. So they try to control all the people and circumstances around them such that they are able to exert their definition of what is right and what is wrong according to themselves onto their environment.
That is interesting that you make that connection between control and legalism, because I've observed the two systems, I guess, but I've never maybe drawn the connection between the two. That when you have a real legalist type system, you also usually end up with some kind of a human authoritarian structure,
right?
To be able to drive.
At the end of the day,
that.
people are in charge.
Yeah.
Whether it's liberalism or legalism.
Yeah. Okay. So
they're defining what is right and what is wrong. They're defining how the environment should be.
So the joy bit of this.
You won't find joy in either of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll find without boundaries, you find yourself insecure in the world.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
With all these, with the tension of attempting to control your whole world in legalism, it's fraught with anxiety.
Yeah. It'd be kind of like, can I go to sleep if my door is wide open on my house? Can I sleep with the door open?
You're right.
And I don't think I could. I don't know. I haven't tried. I've slept outside, but that's a little different. But, like last night, even just before bed, one of my daughters is like, "Hey, can we make sure this door is like closed and locked before I go to sleep?" Like, okay, sure. What are you worried about? But yeah, that security of, hey, there's no boundaries. Yeah, you would feel insecure in that even in that kind of environment, even though you think I'm the one who's controlling my world. Yeah, without some boundaries. Yeah.
And the legalists can never be sure they have controlled the boundaries. There's always something else to control.
I would even find that the joy is stolen by just the burnout of trying to measure up and not measuring up.
Oh yeah.
With a legalist system where you've got all of these man-made conditions you have to meet. Hey, if we weren't designed to meet those conditions, don't be surprised when you don't measure up. It's quite disappointing, to try and carry that.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I could see it being a challenge, for sure. Okay, so an aspect of this that sometimes when we go to the Bible, we think, well, what can I take from this? And I'll use it for me. And that's kind of how we treat the Bible like maybe the big Band-Aid for our problems or whatever. And I'm not going to deny that some of those things are in there.
Yeah.
Hey, if you got some problems, the Bible's going to definitely patch those up. But you mentioned this idea that joy, first and foremost, starts with God. That God is joyful.
I think so.
And that's where it starts. I don't know why I haven't had that thought in my head of that God's just internally and constantly joyful. Just didn't strike me.
I mean, like we were saying earlier, Jesus can weep. He's God. You have God's anger, vengeance.
Those are the things that people tend to default to in their thoughts about God.
Yeah,
and to say that actually God's joyful all the time.
Right.
Why don't we default to that in our mindset?
I think that's more the default, is that he is delighted to see his children coming to him, connecting to him, becoming all that he designed them to be.
Yeah.
And that's the delight that he has in being a creator. I mean, you got it right there in the creation story. He looks at something he created and says, "This is good."
It's good.
You can imagine a smile on your face when you say, "This is good."
I've never made something in the kitchen and been like "This is good," and just
I'm totally depressed at that realization.
You get excited about it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And the analogy that I drew in that sermon, the same way a parent is delighted to give good gifts to his children, put the shiny new bicycle under the tree.
Yeah.
And in anticipation of their joy, he has joy knowing that it will give them joy when they see it God's the same way.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And actually, after hearing that sermon, the very day I went out and got something to stash under the tree, but I can't say it
No,
because if my daughters hear this for
I
any
know.
reason, so it's a secret. It's a secret. But yeah, there's that box
Okay.
for Christmas. Yeah. Okay. So mentioning things that bring God joy, obviously in the creation, there's a certain amount of joy and rejoicing in the goodness that God made, and that being in its own right, a sense of joyfulness that He has and that we can have. Um, you mentioned that God's joyful when we turn to Him or when we come to Him. Are there other things that bring God joy in our relationship with Him that we could think of?
I think we could come up with many things on that line. So turning to Him, come to Him, that makes all the other joys possible. I think when we pick up on the breadcrumbs of revelation that God has left in nature and in His Word, and we realize truth about God. I mean, He gets joy out of. We are joyful in. We are designed to be joyful in following our design, what we are meant to do. And I'm not talking about whether or not you achieve your life purpose or some big famous work or something like that. But just when you practice logic and reason to a wise conclusion, you have now used the faculties of your mind on observations of the world to arrive at something that God built into the fabric of reality for you to find. I think God says, that's an awesome use of the things that I put inside you.
More of a bottom shelf analogy might be, I teach some young people how to play some guitar.
Sure do.
And I get a lot of joy when I watch them do what I taught them.
Right.
Or even more so, maybe they'll do something beyond what I taught them.
Yeah.
Then it's even more exciting because you're watching it grow.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, using what God gave you in the way He intended it is it brings Him joy, and it's mutual that way.
Right.
I think it's the same.
Well, we are reflections of our Creator.
Yeah.
An image. We're made in the image of our Creator. That doesn't mean God looks like this.
Right.
It means
why do we all look different?
we have the soul shape. We have some of the same characteristics.
Yeah.
Creativity, character, giving, all of those things. Communication, reason, a delight in working. I believe that's evident in God. That's evident in how He designed us.
Sure.
So those kinds of things, there's true joy at seeing it work the way it's designed to work in us.
So turning to Him and then continuing to bear that fruit in your life is brings joy to God, and it's mutual, brings joy back to you too.
Yeah. Sure
Cool.
does. Yeah.
All right. So with the idea of turning to God and repentance, kind of some parallel concepts of when people turn to God, that's really that's where revival is where people are turning to God. What role does joy play in revival?
Can you grab that?
We're going to grab the phone. Yeah. But hold back. All right. That was long phone call in the middle of a podcast.
Well.
Yeah. It was well, we don't need to bring it up what it is actually.
Oh, okay.
Not on a podcast. It's some work that we had done at the church. So.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. I
Less
think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Less than pleasant.
Okay.
All right, but repentance and turning to God and revival and joy. What role does joy play in revival, or is that is a parallel concept or connected in any way?
What role does joy play in revival?
Yeah, people turning to God.
Well, when the revival has been described across the centuries, it seems like a contagious in the sense that it moves from person to person.
Yeah.
By one person's observation of another. It's like they see God themselves working through someone, leaking out the the fractures of our broken lives being made whole, and that effect is then passed on to the next person. You have a curiosity. There was an experiment done where a social experiment, and it was on a subway, and someone would get on a subway and then just start laughing hilariously, just laughing, and they had somebody on the side with a camera, and pretty soon the whole car was laughing, and nobody knew what was so funny.
That's interesting. That's interesting. It is hard to keep a straight face around some people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just seeing laugh, because everybody was like looking at this person like, what's so funny? And then it became funny that they were laughing.
The fact that it was,
right. And I get this. I've seen this across my life. It can happen with guys, but more frequently I see it happening with gals, where they start laughing, and then they start laughing at the laugh that they're laughing.
Oh yeah.
And then others join in, and now they're laughing at each other's laughing, and it just goes on and on and on.
At the end, you know for sure people are funny.
People are funny. Yeah. So in that way, I think joy plays a role in revival, in that the realization of the goodness of God makes you ecstatically happy, aka joyful, to a point where it is observable by your neighbor.
It's going to come out in your life one way or the other.
For sure.
We're not talking about where all just going to go down to the church and laugh for 30 minutes.
Some fake, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
but that there is joy when people turn to God.
Yes.
That when people turn to God, there's joy in that, and it could tend to build.
Yeah.
And spread to other people through that. For sure. For sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So built on this this whole structure of expectation, looking for Christ, and hoping in Him, finding joy in Him. Crazy question: if Jesus is a man of sorrows, how in the world are we supposed to find joy in Him?
I mean, what is it? I mean, He even asks us to take up your cross daily and follow Him. I mean, there is a recognition of the challenge, the fight that we're in with the world that wants to demolish any knowledge of God, settle into the chaos and all that. And so there is a heading face into that storm. That's just reality of how the world works. I think you can have those trials, you can have that pushback, you can have that fight and still be joyful. Still know that you stand within God's grace, despite what the world is throwing at you. So you had Christians, you had Paul and Silas. Let's do that.
Yeah,
thrown into prison, shackled.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody was mad at them, rejecting them, all that kind of stuff. What do? They're sin.
Yeah. Oh, not just merely mad or rejected. I mean, these guys were whipped.
Yeah.
They were beat up pretty good.
Oh yeah. And yet, joy was a part of how they could feel. They weren't like, this is the worst, and just why God, all this, poor me, and all that kind of. That wasn't what was on their lips. What was on their lips was the praises of God, and there's the joy. So yeah, Jesus can be a man of sorrows, but I think Jesus was a man of joy as well. How that moment when he drew aside for that John the Baptist was head was cut off and he was drawing aside, the people found him, and it says he had compassion on them. He healed them and he taught them, and so that was his happy place to go there. He didn't say, guys, come back tomorrow. He said, I'm here. These people need me. I'm carrying on. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's worth all of the struggle, all of the whatever battle you might have to get into to come out the other side with the spiritual victory, with knowing that you have brought peace with God to somebody else, that the joy that's at the end of that road. And that is something that Jesus really modeled, is even though he knew he had a mountain of sorrows to climb over to get there, that he still was able to see the joy at the end of that line.
Yeah.
And I loved how you brought that out in mentioning that the joy that Jesus had that he could look forward to and find was actually the process he went through
Yeah.
to save us. That at the
Yes.
other side of that, he was going to save us
Right.
and to reach us in that way.
Yeah.
So there's something motivational about the fact that there are more people
Yeah.
that are going to come to him. And
I think that's motivational.
Yeah, do we as Christians share some of that same motivation that
I
Jesus
do.
had?
I mean, we just had we did our annual Christmas tree sales down at the local supermarket.
Sure.
And in doing that, there were volunteers that had to endure being wet, being cold, maybe sitting a whole shift and not seeing anybody come in for a tree. I mean, especially when it's windy, wet, and cold, you don't get a lot of customers.
Pine needles down your collar,
that can
right?
happen, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet the reason why they were there was not to sell trees or even to make money for missions, but it was the chance to engage the community. Maybe there was somebody who was going to come in and say, I don't have a lot of money for Christmas. And they were empowered and given the ability to say, I can discount that tree 50. I can give you that tree. You know, those were options for them.
Yeah.
That's what makes all the difference.
Sure. And to be able to see the bigger picture in the kingdom of God and what's going on here,
Right.
then it weighs more than a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
More than a cold day.
Yeah.
You know, more than a wet sock, whatever. You know, you're when you're able to see that value that's there. You know, I'm reminded of the passage where Jesus said that there's more rejoicing in heaven over one soul that repents, that turns to him, than over 99 people who think they need nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's really motivational. You think, why am I here? Okay, you do actually have a reason to be here, and it's way bigger than you.
Yep.
It's way bigger than just me and my and how I feel in the moment.
Yeah.
To know that there are people out there that God has prepared for you to reach,
right,
personally.
Yeah.
You know, and I wish everybody could see that. Just look ahead and see why God has you here is because there's another person you're there to help.
Yeah. And when you see God change a life, God come into someone's life and they change directions, and now they've got truth and all of God's grace flowing through them. You get a taste of the joy that God has in that happening. The relationship is between them, but you get to see that's my God working in the life of someone who was headed in a path of destruction. Now they're headed in a path of life. I think that's why we are joyful at seeing that happen.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And the fact that it motivated Christ and that he was able to do that empowers us and motivates us to be able to go through the same things, the same kind of life that he lived. We're empowered by him to live that, to have that same joy in the middle, and really with some of the same goal in mind that he had. I'm reminded of a recent quote from John Wesley. It was he said something along the lines of, preach the gospel until you believe it, and then preach it till somebody else does too, you know? And, and I know that sounds a little crazy.
That's interesting.
But the idea that that you could experience that same joy again, watching someone else come to faith in Christ. Yeah. You know, you remember the day that you turned to Christ. Yeah. And the weight that's lifted off of you there, and the joy that you experienced for the first time, and the peace and all of that. You know, have you done that again? Has somebody else, as a part of your life or in interaction with you turned to Christ? Yeah. In my mind, you feel that same amount of joy.
You're present all over to see the same thing happen.
It's like unwrapping a present.
Right.
It's like, what's in here? More joy. Yeah. Like, that's how it feels to me. Yeah.
Well, in a way, that is true for a lot of things. Even in the world, I think God designed us that way. Yes, the ultimate thing is seeing someone come to Christ, seeing someone grow in all that. But it's more blessed to give than receive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is something that
It's the
Jesus
words of
said,
Jesus, yeah.
but it's also tested in psychology. People who are depressed can find a way out of that by becoming more interested in somebody else's life,
Mm-hmm.
giving into someone else's life. When you're all focused here about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
how can I make myself happy? How can I make myself excited? How can I make myself full, or whatever I want? How can I fulfill my needs? If that's your sole focus, it will make you depressed.
Mm-hmm.
It will make you angry. It will make you trying to control your whole world around you. But if you turn and you're like, if you lose yourself in the joy of giving to others, you don't have time to be depressed.
Sure.
And you certainly don't have the feeling of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And it's, 1900 years before psychology is thought of.
Exactly. Yeah,
Jesus is
Jesus
living
said.
it out for you
Yeah.
to see it. Yeah.
It's more blessed to
And
give than receive.
and he didn't just say it, he lived that,
Yeah.
the way that he lived his life. And yeah, and I think he continues to do that through the church.
Yep.
And through us. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so joy as starting with God.
Mm-hmm.
And then the end product is that he wants it to happen in us as well.
He does.
That's a blessing.
Whew. I've been having kids keeping me up late.
Sure. Yeah. I think we all get a little bit of that with a lot of the wind and the rain.
Yeah.
Lately has shaken the
Yeah.
evenings a little bit.
Well, just I have adult kids and they just like to stay up and chat at
Sure.
night.
Yeah.
That's when they have time because they're working
Yeah.
and everything. So then they wanna chat long into the evening.
And you do it somehow.
Yeah.
You follow it. You and you get joy in that.
I do. It's worth it.
Worth it. Worth it. Oh, that's the title.
That's the title of the series. Yeah, worth it.
Yeah. Well, great.
Totally worth it.
Yeah. Well, so what do we have to look forward to? We got like 2 candles left, right?
You're up this Sunday.
Yeah.
Talking on love.
Talking on the candle of love.
Yeah.
And then the final candle would be the candle
Christ
of Christ
candle on Christmas Eve. Well, we continue the series, and I do a follow-up one called Gratitude.
Okay.
We don't have a candle for that necessarily, but we do have a reminder.
For that one, do we blow all the candles out?
I don't
No.
know. We'll keep them on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then we'll be down to the new year, and we'll be looking at a new series.
We'll be looking at where to go.
We'll be letting everybody know what that is.
Praying about it.
Yeah, as we're still praying about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for being with us on the follow-up podcast.